Yeah. All right. Yeah, they coming in too. What's going on, Marv? How you been, man? How's your family? All right. Jack, how you doing? What's going on? Yes, yes. Welcome, everybody. Come on in. Very good topic tonight. We are piggybacking off of what we spoke about on Tuesday. So, welcome, everyone, to another episode of CMCT, episode 40. It is Thursday night. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Hope your week has been going well. We are looking. What's that, brother? What'd you say?
Season, you know.
Well, you know, they got to get all of those. What do you call them? You got to get your
W-2s,
your W-2s before. So they got one more week for them W-2s to come in. But God bless everybody for having to go through this. One day we will stand up and we will stop that. So make sure the money goes exactly where it needs to go rather than the indulgence of it going in the wrong places all the time.
You don't need a new TV.
No, you don't.
Everybody out there gearing up for tax money, you don't need a new TV.
No.
You don't need, I don't know, what's the new shit, what they doing these days. I ain't young enough.
Well, they done took Kanye stuff away, so it's not clothes. It's not the shoes,
yeah. What are y'all spending?
And they done took Balenciaga, so they done, so that's going too.
Temporarily.
Yeah,
Niggas
yeah.
be buying it again soon.
So welcome. I am your host, Choice Skinner. Next to me is my co-host, the man with the plan, the only one that can stand in the face of anything and everything.
Sir. Antonio.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was a good intro, wasn't it, tonight?
Yes, sir.
I did good.
I'm about to send you the question.
Yes, sir. So, guys, thank you for joining us for another episode. We appreciate all of those who follow us normally. Shout out to Joe Moten. Shout out to Lay the Muse, our day one. We appreciate you guys for always being there for us. If at any time you guys have any kind of questions and or comments or statement, please join in. And we will read the comments, and we will definitely touch on whatever it is you're talking about at that time. You know, we had somebody I looked and saw today, bro, on a previous episode, the one that we had a couple of weeks back about parenthood. And someone, I guess it was on YouTube, so we need to probably be a little bit more mindful of our YouTube sometimes. I know we get caught up in our conversation. Someone had commented, but then they erased it. But whatever, it still has like remnant of it. It just shows up.
What was it?
And basically they were saying, you guys need to have real parents on your show. What are you talking about?
Oh, because we're not parents?
Yeah. And I was just like, what does that have to do with us having knowledge and information in regards to...
What you should and should not do.
Yeah, if you're a bad fucking parent.
The world can still see you when you put your hands over your face.
Yeah.
Hiding,
yeah. And so I thought that was very interesting that we missed that because they would have got it for good. They would have definitely got it. They would have definitely got it.
Where we can see the comments and shit.
Yeah. But it's like a flash remnant. And I guess they thought about it and they went and they erased it.
Trash.
Yeah, because it was like, what do you should have parents on there. Well, you know, listen, people, and people feel like they're privileged in a sense when they're doing something that no one else does. So they feel like you're not a parent. What would you know? But the thing is that
excuse,
right? But the thing is that people don't realize that those who sometimes are on the outside looking in can see more than those who are on the inside looking out. And one of the things about parenthood that people don't understand is that you don't recognize your behavior when you are doing things, and that's just the way it is when people are indulged in something. They don't.
I was having a conversation recently, man. One of the big things that I do my best to drive home is that it don't matter how good of a parent you are, how much you give your child, how much you do or don't, really. The kid is still going to have their perspective. They're still going to have their opinion at the end of the day. Something about what you did, how you did it, is going to be damaging to them in some form or another.
They're going to hold it against you.
Something that they will not like. Guess what? Just like you can't please everybody, you can't do any and everything in the world to please your kid. That's why you just do your best to guide them and give them to the world gracefully.
And that's what we were talking about on the show. Primarily was like not whether or not you are a good parent or not, but should you be a parent? That's what we were talking about. And so if whatever it was that they kind of got triggered by, I wish we would have had caught that because
I'm sure there'll be many more.
yeah, we know that. We know that
everybody has the exceptions to the rule that they love to bring up, and I'm all about arguments on the internet. We should do that, man.
Well, more they're more perspectives and debate.
Well, we got to use buzzwords.
Yeah, those buzzwords. Argue. Okay, so guys, we are still looking to give this safe away to someone who's deserving. What's going on with it? Give the safe away to someone who's deserving. You guys are really, really not picking up on these raffle tickets, and we want you to have this stay.
Only about 10 more people since the last show than then. So
come on.
You're gonna be missing out if you need somewhere to hide your mistress, man. You know what I'm saying? You might want to go ahead and $5 for one ticket now.
For a $700 safe.
You can save your whole actual relationship if you have somewhere to hide your side piece.
There you go.
So you want to grab this $750 safe for $5 for one ticket. You might as well head on over to our link tree. You know what I'm saying? Donate.
Mm-hmm.
Set yourself up for success. So that way your main don't have to find out about what you're doing.
There you go. This safe, the Sweetwater, from the Sweetwater House, is a EL310 safe. It is a 2-hour fire-resistant home and document safe. And it is with fire-resistant. 2-hour fire resistance means the internal temperature will reach up to 350 degrees if the safe is in a fire for 2 hours at 1,875 degree max external temperature.
So don't throw it in the oven.
Right. So easy programming, 4 AA batteries external. Will retain your code if the batteries die or are charged out. And it has an anchor hole. I guess that's another way of getting into the safe if you have a key. It's a key. Pretty much.
Sure.
Yeah. So go there now to Linktree. If you're watching us, you want to support us, you want to support the channel and what we have going on here, make sure that you keep us moving and grooving and have things moving into another level. Get some raffle tickets and donate through buying some raffle tickets so you can get the safe. It is a free safe, $750. There's nothing, no obligation. You get the raffle tickets, you get the safe, and Antonio is taking care of the shipping. So you pretty much just receive a brand new safe by getting these raffle tickets.
Correct.
Can't go wrong. Cannot go wrong. Okay. Let's do that tonight. Some of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now?
Sure, let's knock it out because I think once we get into the groove, we're not going to be able to go back. Yeah.
Never say can. Well, everybody, it's been a long while since I did this. I don't always do this.
No, he doesn't.
Not for just anybody.
Not for just anybody.
Don't tell nobody I did this. Ready? If you guys want to reach out to us outside of show hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, what you can do is reach out to us on our Instagram at CMCT_show. Again, that is on Instagram at CMCT_show. We also have a Facebook page. You can send us friend requests, or is it it's a public page, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so ain't no friend request, but you can follow us on there. We'd appreciate it. And that's at CMCT Show on Facebook. Again, that is at CMCT Show. Pretty soon here, we'll be fully migrating over to YouTube. So
end of February.
If you would like to, excuse me, like to what?
Support
us. That's the word I'm looking for. If you want to support us, donate to us, help us get some scrippers or something out here.
What's up?
You can do that by following us on YouTube at CMCT_show. Again, that's on YouTube, the CMCT_show. We have a Twitter. Are we using that? Soon. Soon we'll get on Twitter and post some titillating things just for the viewers.
Yep.
And our Twitter is at CMCT_show. Again, that's at CMCT_show. Now, more intimate option for, those of you who want to get personal. Those of you who want to send us suggestions or suggestive media, you can email us at cmctshow@gmail.com. Again, that's at cmctshow@gmail.com. We have a TikTok. We post stuff on there.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
That's consistent.
We are posting on there now.
Yes. Yeah.
So, if you want to be entertained on TikTok, you can find us at CMCT_show. Most importantly, we do have a Linktree page. Now, I have a bit of a vendetta with Linktree, I'll be honest. Because if you go to their website, Google it, type in Linktree, and you scroll down to the bottom, you'll find their search box on the homepage. For some reason, they put it at the bottom, and I don't know why, but that really grinds my gears. But effectively, get to the Linktree website, scroll down to the bottom, click in the search box, and type in CMCT_show. Again, that's CMCT_show, and you'll be brought to our Linktree page, CMCT Show, where you'll see at the very top, this is where you can go and donate to receive raffle tickets. $5 will get you 1 ticket. $10 will get you 3 tickets. $20 will get you 7 tickets. $50 will get you 15 tickets. Is it? Can we verify that?
Yeah,
we
can.
definitely forgot.
Yeah, we'll make sure.
$20, 7 tickets. $50 will get you 20 tickets, excuse me. And donating $100 will get you 50 tickets, which is the maximum amount of tickets that any participant can hold.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
That is, again, to join the raffle for the safe. So, $750 safe with all these safety and what the hell is the word?
Heat resistant security
features.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, nextly, and I believe more importantly, we offer 3 services. All right, to our viewers and supporters alike, and that is under the special request tab. Okay. It's the second option on the page. When you click it, a drop-down menu will pop up, and you'll see 3 different options. We are offering a personal 2-minute video. If you feel like you need us to motivate you, or motivate someone that you know, or make a video that'll make you laugh, or give you a bit of advice, for a small fee of $40, you can get a 2-minute personal video from either of us or us
Both
together.
of us. Yeah.
All right? Just make sure you keep those requests real kosher. You know what I'm saying? Real clean and homely. All right?
The most they'll get is martial arts stuff, though.
Yeah.
If they say they want us to,
Go at each other.
Yeah.
We'll do some martial arts.
Yeah.
Cut one of us will cut the other's arm off or something. We'll see. Nextly, our second option, we offer venting consultations. Now, the venting consultation, it's a venting consultation because neither of us are certified or accredited professionals. However, between the two of us, we have over 70, nearly 80 years of life on this planet. Actually, it is 80 plus years of life on this planet. I've lived a very interesting life. If you know me personally, this gentleman has definitely lived an interesting life, and
still going through it.
still going through it as we speak. It might look pretty behind us, but as you can see, the backdrop cuts off a little. You know what I'm saying? This whole background ain't lit up with light strips now, right? But the venting consultation for 1 hour is $100. Okay. Now, we're looking and always aiming to offer you the best possible guidance and to help you find a solution. And if you're not calling for a solution and you just need an ear, all right, a shoulder, we're also willing to do that for you. But ultimately, we will guide you the best that we can toward a solution and help you up out of whatever bottomless pit that you feel you've been sitting in emotionally or mentally, All right. So again, that's $100 for an hour, and that hour can be either of us or both of us. Okay. Lastly, we are offering pre-recorded interviews, 20-minute interviews. The reason why it's pre-recorded is because post-production, we want to ensure that we've helped you shape and poise yourself and your brand to be presented to the world exactly as you see fit. Okay? So however long it takes, we're going to make sure that that interview looks and postures you as wonderful as possible on this here internet. All right? And that 20-minute interview, pre-recorded interview, is $150. Okay? Now, my brother has an Instagram, and that is at Darkan2000. That is DARKAN, the number 2000. Again, at DARKAN 2000. He also has a Twitter where you can reach him at DarkanENT. That is at DARKANENT. Lastly, I got an Instagram or two. I got some personal Instagrams. I got some half Instagrams. I got some whole Instagrams. Whatever you need, let me know. You know
what you got? What you got?
In the mail,
what you got?
We're going to get it to you. My Instagram is at _dosage. That is DOSAGE at _dosage. Nextly, I have an Instagram page where I am promoting my music. Okay? Some of it is free. Some of it you got to pay for if you're on Apple Music. Sorry to hear that. My bank account isn't. And that is at _dosage _ the letter M, the letter A. THEDOSAGE _ MA. All right? Go ahead and check out some of that music. Got a couple projects here in the works. Thank you all.
Always support black men who are making things happen. Stop supporting the sayings and the going-ons of these negative brothers. They just need to learn. They need to be taught correctly. So you got positive influencers as far as black men in the game who are doing things. Support. With that being said, Tuesday next week, we have our first guest that we will be having. If you were joining us earlier this month, we had a show where we were looking to make it happen, but we had some technical difficulties and we couldn't have him on. But next Tuesday, for sure, he will be here. His name is Jackson Drumgoole II. He's an Army veteran. He's an author, a speaker, a university professor, and coach. And he was awarded the GQ Magazine Father of the Year. So having him here Tuesday, he's going to back us up in regards to what we were talking about parenthood.
Absolutely.
That was kind of our objective, to have this show where we talk about parenthood and then we'd have Jackson on, but it just didn't work out that way.
Follow up when you can.
Yeah. So he's also a book writer as well. So he's going to be here talking about fatherhood and also marriage and being married and his experience as far as who he is in the community with black people and what he's doing for black men, which is
getting these households together.
Man, listen, man, he's doing a great work. He's very big in the community.
A little bit.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we want. That's kind of what the whole process here and what we're doing here with CMCT, Change Your Mind, Change Your Thinking.
Out of our men, black men, and the best out of our black women as well.
All right, so we are following up from what happened on Tuesday. If you joined us Tuesday, then you know we were talking about why does the world envy and hate black men, pretty much. It is a fact. It's not something that we are bringing up in conjecture.
It's observable reality.
It is observable reality. And that's what leads to fact. So we can see that. We know it. We feel it. And we talked about police brutality, in a sense, with the 5 black police officers who killed another black man. Tyree Nichols. And we're waiting for that footage. I know that, going back and forth, we're just talking to people in the blogs and stuff, man. They're just like, man, that footage must be really, really bad. Really bad. And because they've been saying, oh, we're going to drop it tomorrow. Oh, no, we're going to drop it next week. No one knows when it's going to drop, but when it drops, it's going to be hell to pay. So I'm not looking forward to it because I already know 5 brolic men. Those guys are brolic. On top of a brother who was 6 feet, I think he's 6 foot, 150. So you can only imagine the damage that they did to him.
Were they all arrested?
And they've been indicted. All of them just came out today. We can follow up on that if we want. But before we do any of that, we have to be fair to Antonio because we threw him a curveball in the show with that Tracing Your Roots, Finding Your Roots article with Joe Magnaniello, and he realized just from reading the article how deep it's getting, what they're doing out there, man. So I'm gonna pass it back over to you and let you follow up on that. And thank you for sending me the Dane article too. And reading when I watch Dane's video. When I watch Dane's videos, you can open it back up and follow off of what you want to talk about. When I watch Dane, Dane pissed me off one time because he went in hard at Judge. They had it, and it was so niggerish too, man. But I guess that's how it is with people who, they're very strong on their views. They're gonna go, But anyway, Dane, he does the work, man. That's what I appreciate about him.
He does do the work.
What happened?
I closed it by accident.
With Joe? It's right there. The Joe article? Or?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Jesse, what's going on? Happy birthday to you, Jesse Lorenzo. I meant to text you the other day. I just wasn't able to. But anyway, this is going to be the very interesting part that, a lot of you guys know about. And I've been wanting you to watch Mandingo, man.
Listen, man.
Because that would have actually added to this.
Listen. All right.
Mandingo is not. We're not talking about the porn star Mandingo. We're talking about a 1976 movie called Mandingo. Came out the same year of Roots.
I'm not good at keeping up with movies.
It's okay. It's all right.
In due time, though.
Yeah, because there's a lot to talk about. But I'm sorry. I'm passing it back over to you.
So I'm gonna open this up on YouTube. Sorry if you're not on YouTube, you won't be able to see. But I'll do my best to make it feel like you're there. But know that you're definitely missing out if you're not on YouTube, right? So, anyway.
You're welcome, Jesse.
Shit, it's going to make me reset it real quick. Hold on. It's right here, right? There we go. Welcome, YouTube. So, if you were here last week, quick recap. This, he said he's what, Sicilian? Basically Italian. You know what I'm saying?
No, he's black now. He said he's black.
So I'm getting to that. All right. He's an Italian or Sicilian.
Sicilian.
Okay.
Originally, he thought he was Sicilian and Armenian, right?
Well, he said he never knew what he was.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a very Caucasian man. Very Caucasian. Unmistakably Caucasian. And find your roots. I don't know. I guess they're hooked up with 23andMe and like Ancestry and all
PBS. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, PBS. Yeah.
Broadcast this show.
Mm-hmm.
And they helped this man trace back his roots, and he found out.
Look at the picture they used, man.
He found out that he's an African American man.
He descended of slaves.
He's got 3 light-skinned ancestors. They said, and that's what they said. They said they were light-skinned black men. 3 light-skinned ancestors, and that's why you can't really tell. You know what I'm saying? That he's a beautiful black man in his current pictures. Now, before we move on, because I gotta add the humor in there. Where was it at? He was asked a lot as a child or whatever growing up.
Oh, about his dad?
About his father. Is this it right here? Nah, let me just look it up real quick. He was asked about his father's complexion a few times. There we go. Y'all really gonna do that? Simpson. There we go. Okay. He said, my father would get super dark in the summertime. People would always ask me, does your father look like Tom Selleck? And I'd say no. Honestly, in the summertime, my father looks more like O.J. Simpson, or even the late Franco Harris.
Who's Franco Harris? Because how do you have that comparison? Because I think Franco Harris is an actor. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Oh.
Okay.
We should have did that in the last show. We didn't do that.
We didn't have time for that. But I just, I need to know, okay?
Wow.
And then really quick, I'm pulling back up just the picture of him
His dad.
and his father. The one who looks like O.J. Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case anyone's mistaken. Again, if you're not on YouTube, you're missing out on the visuals. Where's that picture of him and his dad? They had it on here. Oh, is it because I put father instead of dad? Google being real specific tonight. Maybe they took it down after you made all that.
Wow, that would be interesting, wouldn't it?
And I'm pretty sure I'm spelling this nigga's name right. Oh, Joe. That's why I put Tom, nigga. Like, I don't know. They all look the same to me. All right, here we go. Just so y'all know, check out his dad, the one who looks like, you know.
Oh, man. You look like O.J. Simpson.
Okay, there we go. So I just wanted y'all to see. Okay, now this is important. I'm not just doing this to burn time. Okay, I want you guys to understand the lengths that they're about to go through to take our identity from us.
Mm-hmm.
Black men and black women. Trust me, it won't just be white men claiming to be black men.
Mm-hmm. Well, Rachel Dozier already did
Rachel
it.
Dolezal,
Yeah.
Who was it? One of the Jenner kids or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Making herself look as black as possible. There was some shit with Beyonce, like the dancers or models or something that was being compared to her, and all of this kind of shit. There's always some blackface going on in the world, you know, when it comes to white people doing their best to compare themselves to us. Okay. Now, I just wanted to touch on this, and then we can move on. But there's something called penis envy. Okay? I pulled this quote up last week. It's from a song, actually. I'm going to read that. But something called penis envy. And in human history, the phallus, if you know what the phallus is, it's the penis. Okay? Humans work a lot with imagery and symbolism. And there's something called phallic architecture. You know, when we create these monuments like the Washington Monument, the skyscrapers, and all of these different things, even antennas, you know, they're based on the phallus. And one of the white man's biggest fears have always been a black man doing anything with their women. You know, that is the male fear of any race. As another race's men coming and taking their women. Okay? So, if you go and look, you can look this up, phallus, Phallus, monuments, and you'll see throughout history, you know, a lot of the largest monuments in the world were absolutely structured. Look, they even kind of in there put balls on that one, you know what I'm saying? Look, you know what I'm saying? If you're on YouTube, again, you know, good for you. If you're on Instagram and shit, you're missing it. But there's a whole concept behind this thing. There's psychology behind this thing. And I want to read a quote really quick. I won't name the rapper, but he said he was a guy who got charged. You know, he was falsely charged and imprisoned. And one of his songs, when he got out, he said, "I was kidnapped by the feds and treated like a sucker, but now I'm free. They see payback's a motherfucker." He said, "I'm sickening, black dicking, all they daughters and nieces. Now COs and POs want me rested in pieces." You know? Now, sure, it sounds cool in the song and all of that, But you got to dig a little deeper and understand what he's saying. He was very upset at what these white men did to him and his legacy and the career that he was working on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they forced imprisonment on him, 5 or 6 years, and that's a long time in the music industry.
That's your life too. Mm-hmm. From your life, your life.
Well, just that being his dream and his main focus and his livelihood, and they took that from him. And when he got out, one of the first things he was thinking is like, man, I have to go after their women. That's kind of. It's a form of it's a form of war and human nature and psychology, emotion, and physicality.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best way I could hurt them the way that they hurt me and my life and my family?
Mm-hmm.
Is go after the women
mm-hmm.
and their households. Now I don't agree with it. I don't fuck with white women. If you know, you know. But that was a powerful statement in him understanding that is how he could hurt them the most, because he understood the black man's penis envy.
Mm-hmm.
He understood penis envy just based on the way that they treated him, why they locked him up, how they locked him up, and how they used his music and all of these different things against him to put him behind bars, man, and basically put him on the chopping block in front of his family for 5 or 6 years. Just understand, black men, the world. If you have girlfriends or wives, babies' mothers, I'd be very surprised if you never had that moment where your woman wanted to watch you hold your dick while you piss.
It's power in the penis.
It's power.
Mm-hmm.
It's a powerful symbol. You look all around the world at these different monuments.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that pays homage to the phallus.
Yeah, back in Corinth and also in the Greco-Roman world, they would have it on the doors. Yeah. Symbols of stone penises on the doors. It's very big.
Sword?
I never forgot when I had a student who, a martial arts student who had spent time in Japan. They actually have a park where they have penises the kids ride. and he showed me a picture, and I was like, this is an actual park? He was like, yeah. And he said, what he learned in his travels is that some countries adulate the penis.
Absolutely.
And the black male penis is adulated more around the world than any other penis.
Well, because in their minds, we have the world's longest, strongest.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
In regards to the myth or whatever that may be.
Once you go black.
You don't go back. Why is this important? Because I know it's taboo to talk about for a lot of people mostly, but why is it important? And I think the reason why Antonio is bringing it to everyone's attention is for you to understand that nothing has changed since slavery in regards to sexuality of black men in this country.
The reason they were castrating us.
Yeah, and if you don't know about that, if you're not familiar with it, there used to be postcards that they sent.
Yeah, man.
And there are actual photos. You can go online right now and see the photos online. Just Google castrated black man, lynched, and you will see that that's what they did.
The finale was chopping off the black man's dick in front of his family.
And in front of the whole town.
In front of the whole town.
Because there's one famous photo of a little blonde-haired white girl standing in front, and they castrated this black man. And, that has always resonated with me as a black man, but just as a man, period, that shame would go that far, that people would be that evil or that violent, because I know we're all capable of violence, but to see someone do something like that.
To see the envy fully manifest in the physical realm.
In
that fashion.
It happens a lot too in when black men are accosted by cops, when they frisk you. And a lot of times if you're a person that's on social media, every now and then these little memes and little video clips will come along, and there's one where the guy's getting grabbed up by the cop, and the cop's grabbing him, and he's like, oh, what's this? He goes, that's my dick, man. And it's like, when you see stuff like that, you have to be honest with yourself and say, man, that's more than just that he's frisking him.
It's like he always wanted to know.
Yeah. Is the myth true? And it's a very harsh thing to talk about, but it needs to be addressed and it needs to be brought to attention. If any of you out there,
Reality.
if any of you out there have ever dealt with that, please chime in. Let's talk about that. Let's create a discussion about that tonight because we're going to stay on this for a while before we go on to the other topics that we want to talk about. But penis envy is a very, very serious thing, and you have to be well equipped mentally, no pun intended. You have to be equipped mentally to know that this is something that it's beyond just being in the bathroom and someone looking over at the stall. You know,
There are
it's
entire wars, laws, systems created behind this type of envy.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. Whereas it's how odd it was where, okay, back in the day, you know, the one drop rule, right? And you would lose pretty much any type of options and yeah, and you know, these types of things you would have if you were a fully white person back during Jim Crow or during civil rights movement. And now these guys are claiming that they're black and that they came from slavery.
well,
Their
they are
ancestors.
black. They did the 23andMe test. When you got an African ancestor or a black ancestor or some sort.
So speak to us a little bit about the 23andMe because, you know, like I said, Dane did talk about that, and you did send me some stuff
I
that
meant to take down those two dudes' names, the guys who were above Henry Louis Gates, just so we could.
they were friends of his.
The names out there.
You know, it was so wild to see that he was sitting up there, you know, joking about it, and people were clapping and applauding
About these
and
DNA tests being a lie,
being
they
false.
Know that they cannot go back further than the mother.
right.
Impossible.
For scientific reasons, it's impossible. Not just because
unless they get a subpoena or unless they get a subpoena to be able
dig
to
up,
dig up a grandmother,
exhume.
great grandmother, and so forth. They can't tell you where you came from. They can't tell you who you came from. Okay, so all y'all out there spending this $100 or however much it is on this test, stop wasting your money.
Well, we proved that after the show. Antonio and I, we were talking really big about the Joe Manganiello situation, and we just did a little research ourselves, and we got stuck. There was a point where it was like, don't know who the parent is of this person, don't know their mother, don't know their father.
So then how could they verify that?
Yeah. How could they go that far back? Because a lot of the slaves, you know, the records were destroyed.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
The Mormons own the records. That's why they're selling them to you on Ancestry and the like.
And remember, when you send your DNA in, you don't know what they're doing with that stuff. Yeah. I believe that's actually what they're using to try to connect people. You know what I mean? By saying, oh, okay, well, this is who your ancestor is. This is who your cousin is. You know, I mean, it's a great scam. It's a great, if you think about it.
There are people alive right now that they're like, oh, yeah, these are the descendants of Harriet Tubman.
And we know that Harriet Tubman, we know they never existed. Yeah.
You know, there's patent numbers on their stories, patent numbers on their existence. These are all verifiable facts. You can go and look it up. You may have to go pay, you know, the Library of Congress. But
well, they'll get the answer before they even get there. I mean, that's the thing that I think a lot of black men in general have to do, because, you know, if we come from single parent households and your mom, you know, God bless her soul, she's out there working, doing what she's got to do to raise kids, whether it's, you know, a bunch of boys and girls or, you know, however many children she has, she wants the best for her children or her child. You know, she doesn't have a lot of energy for the resources of, you know, what in a two-parent household, which would, you know, be able to balance out. She doesn't have all of that. And so it's hard to look at it as a thing of, oh, okay, well, you know, your parents have to do the work. We understand that, but there has to be other means. I mean, the fortunate thing of my era was there were always things outside of the household. You know, even growing up in the projects, when the projects first started, it wasn't as bad as what it became. There were programs and there were people assigned to do certain things. You know, after lunch school programs weren't bad then. You know, I mean, I think food is horrible now. No matter what you look at, you got to work even extra hard to make sure you're getting the nutritional value you deserve or need in order to function correctly. But back then, it wasn't. If you weren't, they were very big on making sure kids at least ate. You know what I mean? Because they knew a lot of us weren't eating at home. I was fortunate. I had a mom that made sure we ate, unless I didn't want to eat. I was picky. But she made sure we ate Brussels sprouts and, all that kind of stuff. Gave us, you ever had cod liver oil?
Yep, the little capsules, or getting the spoonful.
Or castor. Oh, man. Yeah, so my mom was big on stuff like that, Oh, man. But, it was a thing of when it comes to the external knowledge, there were programs and there were things and places that you could go to get a little additional knowledge. Now, none of that exists. And I think we have to take it upon ourselves as a community to make sure that the false things are dismantled, and the things that may trigger people and make people think that, man, what are you talking about? Because everything now is conspiracy, right?
Everything is conspiracy. Everything hurts someone's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Critical race theory is always the perfect modern example. Excuse me, where they're choosing to rewrite our history here in the United States. Mm-hmm. Whether or not our history was true, it's our history here. Whether or not our history here as far as the slave trade was true, because there is speculation about that based on the Native American stories. However, the fact of the matter is the damage has already been done, so it still needs to be taught.
Yeah.
You got to understand what it is that they put in our heads. Whether it were true or false, it's a part of our psyche now. It's a part of our trauma generationally.
Whether you listen, for me, because someone else had been talking about it for a while, there was knowledge that I had that I've always accepted. Like I said, my great grandmother pretty much looked Native American fully, and she was from Texas. She was from Galveston, Texas. That all of my mom still looks a little Native American. My grandmama looked Native American. There is truth to it. I was like, okay, well, there's a point where somebody got to take that L, because these Europeans came in and that showed that these tribes couldn't work along with each other. They got bamboozled, and same thing happened to a lot of the different tribes in Africa.
Correct.
There's a point.
Isolated.
Yeah, and you gotta take the L. You have to say, okay, listen, this is something to learn from. You know what I mean? Whether there was Native Americans and then on this side, and
we're dealing with it right now.
Right. And I think that's part of it. I think, especially when you talk about the envy of black men, I think black men want so bad to fit in. Right? Like I'm very big on, I don't hang with black guys that only hang with white guys.
I agree.
I'm very big on that. I don't mess with them.
Because we don't have much that we can relate on.
Not even that. It tells me how they see themselves as well.
Yeah.
If all you hang around, like all your friends are just a different culture, you ain't got no black friends, none.
That means you're not connected with who you really are.
Yeah, and it tells me that you don't like who you are, and you see your culture a certain way. Because I've spoken to guys like that. Yeah, well, I don't want to be like, Raheem and these other guys, but.
Well, it's the disassociation thing. So I've talked about that on the show before too. A lot of foreigners who come here to the U.S. When they're they have some pigment, they got some pigment to their skin. They're so ethnic. It doesn't take long for them to realize how anyone of color is treated versus the white class citizens. So then they'll do their best to disassociate themselves from black Americans because they understand how it is that we're treated. They don't want to be treated like niggas.
Right.
That's what it boils down to. They don't want to be treated like niggas too. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't like us. They just understand the reality.
Yeah. But it goes back to what I had said about Joe. All of the perks of being black, but not the struggle. Correct. They like the swag. They like anything pertaining to what would be sociably acceptable, but they don't want the struggle. The fact that, okay, even going back to, I remember watching Jungle Fever in the theater, and that part where he gets arrested, when the cops come because he's with his girlfriend and she's Italian, and that was very big in New York because we had stuff happening. We had incidents happen in Howard Beach, and black men being beat up and lynched and chased down and killed, and primarily because they were out there messing around with white girls. So the family would find out, and Spike Lee took it straight out of the headlines and put it into the movies, and what people don't understand is that a lot of times it is the penis envy, but also it is the economic thing. Like, a lot of people date outside of their quote unquote race, whatever that is, because we're all part of the human race. Right, but at the same time, they don't realize that the reason why they'll never be accepted by their family is because of stigmatism of the lack of finance.
Correct.
And
just the lack of access.
Yeah. And the family has an idea, especially if the family is immigrants and they come here, they want to, change their whole perspective and their whole prospect of their life. And then the girl goes out and start dating the brother, and they're looking at her like she's crazy.
So then we got two comments. So from Pacific Sunrise, he says, our culture is divided in our communities. I strongly think it's because of the absence of men. And then we got Christy Day, who says, they don't just like it, they see that it's profitable. That's why they appropriate it.
Yeah. So the absence of men, that's partially a myth. The fact that they're always like there's no black men in the home.
It's the damage that's done to the black man's reputation.
Absolutely. And it's kind of like there's memes going around now. Eric and I was laughing about one of them because it's like dude was talking in the mirror and you think he's talking to his dad, but he's kind of like, and then it says what the conversation I would have if my dad was around, type of thing. And we were talking about doing something different. That's why we were laughing. We weren't laughing at that situation because we were like, that's fucked up.
That's very fucked up.
Right? But that's how people see the black man. He's never there. And then when you see these fathers out here, I know fathers who have had to fight to get to see their kids, just to keep the court order that was already passed down and agreed upon. And the mothers are doing everything in their power to,
for various reasons.
Yeah, to keep that man. Yeah,
about the child.
Right. So that's somewhat of a myth that black fathers are not around, that black men are not around. You always have black men in the black community. It's just that a lot of them have been emasculated and been told that black women are the saviors of the community. So, when you go and you see them marching and stuff, there's always a black sister out there screaming and yelling on the megaphone. You know what I mean? And it's like men have accepted it because it's a matriarchal society now.
So anything that a man does is supposed to be bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many different outlets and platforms that are telling men not to be men.
Yeah.
Not to look at a woman and feel what a man should feel when he looks at a woman. Not to...
Toxic masculinity, they call it, right?
Yeah.
Toxic masculinity. And so with that being said, if it's toxic, let's look up the word toxic because we need to discuss this because
let's define it.
This whole thing about black male masculinity being toxic, they used us. They used the black men to create the movement of toxic masculinity. Okay.
So toxic, poisonous, very harmful or unpleasant in a pervasive or insidious way. Wow.
Yeah, that's horrible.
That's a lot to throw at a nigga, ain't it?
Yeah,
finance, denoting or relating to debt. I didn't know that. Interesting.
That's probably something
that's for finance.
They done brought that up. That's recent.
Yeah. Let's see. They didn't pull up, no? We got videos and shit. Merriam-Webster, there we go. And then Wikipedia, they always get us real good on Wikipedia. Just so we can be definitive about the terms that we're using, all right? So, for Merriam-Webster, we've got toxic, containing or being poisonous material, especially when capable of causing death or serious debilitation. Exhibiting symptoms of infection or toxicosis. Extremely harsh, malicious, or harmful. Relating to or being an asset that has lost so much value that it cannot be sold on the market.
Wow.
That's very powerful.
Yeah.
Let's see, and then did we get anything for Wikipedia? Toxicity.
Welcome to the show.
I don't think they
Parisha.
have anything specific. Okay, we could read this. Toxic and similar words derived from Greek, bow, or bow, probably. A reference to the use of poisoned arrows as weapons. This root was chosen because the transliteration of bow, the usual classical Greek word for poison, was not distinctive enough from the English word ion. Itself derived from a similar but unrelated Greek root. The literal meaning of the root toxo is reflected in such biological names as toxodon or bowtooth. Interesting. All right. And then, there's behavioral toxicity. Let's read that really quick. Where'd that go? Behavioral toxicity refers to the undesirable effects of essentially therapeutic levels of medication clinically indicated for a given disorder. Damascio. Soltis and Shader, 1970. These undesirable effects may include anticholinergic?
Yeah, cholinergic effects.
Anticholinergic effects, alpha adrenergic, blockade, and dopaminergic effects, among others.
Well, that's very, right in your face, the alpha adrenic. Because what that's basically saying is that's more of a leadership, right? Alpha is the head, the leadership. Anything that would make someone like, I want to go first. I want to be the head. I want to be in charge. The blocking, dealing with the adrenaline gland, which is a very powerful gland in the human anatomy.
It is.
It's what gives us the strength. So they were blocking that, and that's in the 70s. That's in the 70s. You guys got to understand, a lot of stuff was going on, CIA movement and stuff when it came to
They started
the
in
black
the
community.
20s.
Yeah, they started in the 20s, but the 70s is when they really started the movement against the black community.
Putting it to work.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. And when you start to see, look, dopamine, all these words, they were really working with the behavior of people. Right, so we start talking about LSD and all those other different,
all of that
chemicals.
is a part of the MK Ultra, and there's a few other.
And so when you start to see that, you have to understand that a lot of these things that's going on mentally in the black community were inserted into like mental illness, like when people have to be on medication, was inserted. Even way back to Agent Orange, when a lot of our brothers went over to Vietnam and got that Agent Orange dumped on them, and they came back and they weren't right.
And they never were taken care of. By far and large, weren't taken care of.
So the whole toxic masculinity thing, we have to be honest with ourselves and realize that it is a buzzword that was created in order to be able to find a way to separate people in the black community, the men from the women. Because you got to remember that always when you look at any form of feminism, it is the black woman that is used, just like it is for black men to be used for certain things. It is the black woman that is used in order to propagate it. Not to start it, but to propagate it, to make it popular. Black women have a very strong power in regards to popularizing things.
Correct.
That's why we love y'all. Y'all good at that stuff. Y'all good at taking anything and making it colorful. You know what I mean?
Making it acceptable and putting some sort of culture behind it.
Listen, in my days, when I was a kid, when I was a teen, white women looked like the women that were on Dynasty. They were flat-ass, thin-lipped, and pale. And they were cool with that because they were rich, you see? And that, the 80s was the me generation, right? So black women were always looked down on, and we can even go back to that woman that was in the circus. I can't remember her name. She had the big butt and everything. Now look at what's going on. White women are getting Brazilian butt lifts,
90210,
collagen injected into their lips, small waists, big booties,
and it never works.
Thick
It doesn't
hips.
look right. Just
It
so
looks,
they know.
It looks like disfigurement. Butt pads. So everything that black women had stood for or naturally was endowed with, white women are taking over that.
Same with our hair, our styles, our cultural presence.
Oh, they're going in on my comments today, boy.
The way that we dance and
they know,
speak.
they're loving it because they know we're speaking the truth, guys. And why is this important? Because if you can understand this, then you will see that the envy towards black men is very real.
Bo Derek was my mom loves talking about this. Right, we brought her up last week. Cornrows were looked down upon.
Yeah.
Until Bo Derek. Was she a swimsuit model or whatever for some bullshit?
Yeah.
This white bitch get on TV and she get in the magazines and she got on cornrows. So now all the white people is, doing the beads
That
and
was
all
the
of that
movement.
bullshit.
She was the first white woman to represent the actual figure of a black woman.
Yep.
Which is, like I said, that's a natural endowment for black women. I'm not talking about being over 200 pounds. I'm talking about who you are, the natural endowment of
The
who
actual
you are.
build, the poise and the posture.
Yes. Yes.
We're all born with it.
Yeah. And so now when you see that, okay, the movement towards black men, the emasculation of the black men, all you had to do was set up a certain amount of guys who were very successful in the industry and say that it's something, I don't know if Ivan is watching, but Ivan always talks about the football players and the basketball players. What do they got on? Like, you ever see them go from the bus into, and they're used too. A lot of those guys are used.
Absolutely. They're entertainers, public figures.
Yeah, they're used. It's like, and so you have to understand that black people are used because like I said, we propagate.
They know that the world is looking at us.
Absolutely.
We're the best tool to get anything off the ground, kickstarted, if you will.
Yeah. So that means we as a culture have to address that power.
Yeah.
Black women are the #1 movie ticket buyers in the world. Yeah. Black women all over the world. And it was Hollywood Reporter that came out with that. If you look at any Facebook page or Instagram page, it's always black women that'll talk about a show.
Yep.
Or a movie, and be like, child, that movie, it had me shooketh, they'll talk about it, and they're the ones that popularize.
They are the critics.
They are the critics. They're natural.
Ebert and Roper, I remember, man. Yeah. My grandmother and my aunts and great aunts, that's all they would watch. Because they're keeping up with what's going on.
They were actually
socially.
the first show to have a black woman on as a reviewer.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, Ebert and Roper, that you mentioned that. We as a culture, for all you guys out there listening, because we're always wondering what we can do to make things different, right? How can we, we can recognize and address these issues, but it only takes one person listening or two people listening to say, okay, well, I'm going to make an adjustment. I'm going to take accountability.
Just even to be able to spread the word. If there's something different that can be done, or there's a different approach that can be taken, or even just some caution that can be applied. Now, one of the things I want to touch on, because we're about to cross over into the second hour, but I just wanted to show you guys how deep it goes. And you can go and look this up yourselves.
You guys, listen, when he says that, it's very important that you actually do. Because like I said, after we read that article, we went to find some of his family lineage. Yeah. And we ran into a crossroads where it was a block.
It's damn near that these people don't even exist.
They don't exist.
Plato Turner, to be exact. So, if you guys want to check that out.
Okay, bro.
And this no, you're good. And this is not one of those tinfoil hat. Do your research. You gotta go do your research. It's
right, and because sometimes when you do the research, you'll find conflicting views, and then you will end up going with what you feel rather than what makes sense.
Right.
what we're talking about is not conflicting. This is
all of this shit is verifiable.
Verifiable.
It's right up there up front. All you got to do is you got Google. You know, the same way you quick to get on Instagram and Facebook, you can quickly go get on Google and say, well, what about this? And you will get a million or hundreds of thousands of links, you know, to help provide you with more information. So I just want to show you guys how deep it goes. We all know the stereotype that white people don't season their food, right? So I got interested one day in why is that a stereotype? Like, where does it derive from, other than we know that these motherfuckers don't really know how to cook? So I'm doing my research, man. I'm hitting different sites. Now I'm hitting different books and seeing what the history is. And it goes back well into the BC age. Okay? And that's before Christ, for those who don't know. But they had a stigma after they started, usurping and taking over land and going to these different regions that had culture. And they were upset that they didn't know how to use seasonings and spices. Seriously. You can go, this is verifiable. Go and look it up. They were upset that they did not know how to use seasonings and spices. So then they said, you know what? The serfs, the peons and so forth, they have to season their food because it's of lesser quality than ours.
Okay. So that sounds about right.
They were in hotter climates. They were in colder climates, so their food lasted longer. You know, the Caucasians, right? So they said, well, our food's lasting longer because it's of higher quality, because we're rich, because we have more resources. That's how they thought about it. So they said the way that these people are handling their food is because they don't have the money to preserve it the way that we preserve ours, and that's why they got to apply seasoning. So to them, that's where the whole all anything ever really needs is salt and pepper. That's why salt and pepper is a staple at any restaurant on the table right now today. Go and look it up. I'm not making this shit up. That's really where that comes from. They did not know how to make their food be as tasteful as our food. So they said, well, them niggas got to do that because they're poor. Our food is better when you don't even rinse the steak off and you just throw it straight on the grill or over the fire and you take it off and you don't put salt or pepper, and you're messing with the integrity of the flavor of the actual food. Go and look at these places that these motherfuckers eat, boiling lettuce and boiling potatoes and not putting no salt and pepper on it, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Go and look at the shit that they were eating in the Renaissance era. Fucking gross,
bland,
nigga.
Well,
go and look at the British breakfast.
Oh yeah.
Worst fucking breakfast on this planet. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Go look at the chip flavors
horrible.
in the UK.
It is horrible. But that's, listen, when you look at Caribbean cultures, right? Those recipes have never changed. Those are the same recipes, or even the Nigerian and African cultures.
They tried to say our food was spoiled. And that was why we had to cover it up with seasonings and spices. Ain't that a bitch?
Not realizing that, a lot of the foods that people of melanin, those foods had specific things in it to help.
They were spiritual. A lot of our recipes...
Their soul food is spiritual food.
But a lot of our recipes were ritualistic. It wasn't just, nigga, we hungry, let's make this real quick. We've kind of lost the meaning and the journey and the process over the years, but all you got to do is go on, other than, plantation food is plantation food, but it is still soul food for a reason.
And even the slave masters would have them cook a certain type of meal for them.
For specific holidays, to get their spirits in a certain way, to warm their bodies up during the winter and help them not be cold in them punk ass houses they was living in, we outside and shit. You know what I mean? It just takes a little bit of research, man. That's all I'm saying. I just wanted to share that with y'all. It's always a little bit deeper than you think. People try to say, oh man, it ain't that deep. But sometimes really it is. It's important to know these things because it's important to know who you are and why the world is looking at you the way that they are. Have you seen those videos? There was a video where there was a news anchor. You know, they had brought soul food into the studio.
Yes, I saw that.
Oh my God, that white man, you know what I'm saying? That motherfucker nearly hit a backflip. That food was so good.
Yeah.
You know, his wife don't cook like that.
Taste
nigga.
buds, yeah. The taste buds.
He nearly lost his mind.
That was hilarious. Yeah. I think you actually sent me that video.
I probably did.
Yeah, you sent me that.
But that shit is the truth, man. So it goes all the way down to that, and you think that these motherfuckers ain't petty enough to come up with divisive tactics and psyops to split up our community, to split up our households, to damage us, to poison us mentally and emotionally, socially. So much so that they don't even. I seen the other day. I listen to a lot of people and study a lot of people that said, man, the white man barely even has to lift his finger today. They don't even have to. They don't have to dust off anything. They don't have to shake off. They're not stressed out about anything because at this point in time, we're doing the majority of the work ourselves. It's autonomous.
The recipes in any culture are passed down. Yeah. They are passed down. And when you meet people who truly respect the art of culinary, not the stuff that they teach in these ratchet ass college schools.
Them niggas cannot cook, bro.
No, they can't. It's horrible to watch that they put this little thing down and they do this thing and they feed you that and people pay top dollar for that. I'm not knocking anybody on what they do with their money in regards to their
education,
their palate and their gut. Yeah, but my God, man, it's like, you want to eat because of how you were raised, and you recognize what for you is sustaining for you. And every culture, if you look at it, there's an old story. This is real funny. I never forget this story, and it basically is called rock soup. Right? And it's these three sailors. Now, the importance, listen to the importance of it. They were three sailors, okay? So they come into this town, and they have a cauldron. They put the cauldron on the fire, and they put water in there, and they throw a rock in it, right? And the whole town, they don't know who these guys are. They're looking, and it's like, what are you making? And the sailor says, I'm making rock soup, right? And they go, where are you guys from? They're like, we've been all over the world. That's the key. And they go, but it's going to taste good? It's just a rock. And he was like, yeah, it's going to taste great. All the minerals and everything from the rock is what sustains us. Right. And then there's a lady, she comes out and she goes, well, I have some nice potatoes that would probably go good with that rock. Would it hurt? And they go, no, it wouldn't hurt. You know what I'm saying? Everything's in the rock, right? So she goes and gets potatoes, throw it in. Before you know it, in order to make it quick, because it's a long story, in order to make it quick, everybody in the town ends up offering something that they could put in there. Chicken, carrots, and then somebody even had some bread. They said, this would go good with that rock soup. And they eat the soup, everybody eat the soup, and those guys get up and they go into another town and they do the same thing in every town. The reason why it was important that you recognize that these guys were sailors is because they understood taste because they had been in other places. So because they had been in other places of the world, other parts of the world, sailors had did that. Sailors weren't always white, raggedy looking, Johnny Depp looking guys. There were Africans that were sailors. That's how we know that they came here. They were navigators. You can't say that, he talked about the Sahara Desert, and I was just like, it was just a pathway. And at one point, it was water.
It was a trade route.
Yeah, of course.
Potentially Atlantis, but hey.
Absolutely.
Mesopotamia.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why that whole Wakanda Forever was such bullshit. They were doing what they can to, there's always, you guys have to understand this as a culture. There are always things that are being done to take away any type of power or any type of knowledge and any type of prestige from black men and black community, period.
Absolutely.
Period. Do not be surprised because, we've been talking for years about raisins in the potato salad, right?
I was about to say, listen, go and do some research. These niggas was boiling lettuce.
Yeah.
They boiled lettuce, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Understand that.
Yeah.
Not cabbage.
Yeah, no, cabbage was created. So, just like broccoli and a lot of this other stuff. But
they boiled
lettuce because that was their way of, eating it.
If that don't explain everything, I don't know what else to tell you.
Right,
man.
right. But raisins and potato salad, we don't even know. I guess that's something you would have to look up. God rest his soul, Chadwick Boseman did the funniest skit. Did you ever see that one on Jeopardy? I'm going to show you once we finish the show tonight. It's hilarious. Okay. It's worth it. It was one of the best things he ever did before he left this earth. Crazy. But raisins and potato salad, that should tell you. And I've been at a couple of Thanksgivings. I don't...
They put craisins in there.
Even the mashed potatoes have no taste. And that's because the recipes are not passed down.
Well, it's not even... It's the salt and pepper thing.
Absolutely.
It was that's something that traveled throughout. That was their superiority complex. Mm-hmm. We're fucking up the food when we put spices in it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because they couldn't figure out how to do it, nigga. Yeah. They couldn't, you know what I'm saying?
A hint of that, taste of that.
They couldn't do it how we did.
Yeah. Well, a lot of things too, and this is kind of why, hopefully this year when things pick up for us, we'll be able to get that program going, 5 or 10 young black brothers to go to another country. And because I believe, like, for me, being out of the country taught me the power of what it was to be a black man. That's why I always tell people, if you're going to go out the country, because most brothers are always like, man, I heard they treat people good in Europe. But listen, you black here, you black everywhere. Yep. And it don't make a difference.
And
it don't
really
make a goddamn difference.
In Europe.
Yeah. And
they have worse identity crisis over in Europe. Mm-hmm. Our brothers and sisters have a worse identity crisis over there than we do here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just for those who don't know.
Yeah. I did tell you what happened to me when I went to Cannes, going through in the German, man. I had to tell my mom, be quiet, don't say nothing. It's a superiority thing. It
Absolutely.
Really is, man. It really is, So, guys, listen. We have a couple of other things to talk about. We're going to stay on the subject still, but we have some other things to talk about tonight that's in the news, okay? And that toxicity thing is a good thing.
That Chrome thing, I believe, was not working, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
I don't think so.
Yeah?
Yeah, so...
Yeah, interesting.
Maybe, the shit gets fucked up.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, let's see what's going on here. It did it again, huh? Yeah. All right.
It's treating it like there's 2 windows and there's not.
Oh, there is. That's okay. All right. I don't know if you've heard anything about this story. And the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because there's black brothers involved in it. Because it's really sad to see that these young brothers, because they don't know their history, and this is why it happens. Because when you know your history, we used to have an old saying back in the day, man, stay away from them little white girls, you know what I mean? Hey. And unfortunately, in my opinion, hip-hop opened up the door for brothers to be involved in stuff that they didn't know. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it was like,
to be appreciated by other cultures.
Yeah, we're bringing everybody together, blah, 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 blah. But, there's a history still. And those parents are still alive. And they still have a certain... That's why people think, man, in this day and age, people are calling people, racist names and racist things. And it's like
nigga, it was just yesterday.
Yeah.
It's barely been 50 years.
Yeah.
That hip-hop has even been around.
Yeah. And so you can't undo something that's taken 400, 500 years in 50 years.
Well, they don't... That's again, they don't know that it was even 50 years ago, man.
Right. Right.
Again, these kids got these devices and they're not using them to even educate themselves on the timeline. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They're just here. Mm-hmm. And that's really unfortunate, but that's the reality of it. I'll read this.
These cats out there partying with no knowledge, man. And listen, I'm not one to stop somebody from having fun, but man, when it ends up being like this, where your whole life is going to be pretty much taken away from you.
Well, you can't be having so much fun that you ignore the reality, around you. Mm-hmm. It does mean something to be aware and be present. Mm-hmm. Just be cognizant of what it is that's going on in the world around you in general, especially as it applies to your circumstances. Mm-hmm. So let's read this. 4 arrested in connection to alleged rape of LSU student hit and killed by a car. Police in Baton Rouge this week arrested 4 men in connection with the alleged rape of a 19-year-old Louisiana State University student who was killed when a car struck her on a roadway earlier this month.
Why is LSU constantly in the news, man?
You don't want to get me started on that. You know, Bible Belt, whatever. The Mason-Dixon line, who knows? According to the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office, Madison Brooks was raped before she was dropped off at a subdivision and hit and killed by a car in the early morning hours of January 16th. The 4 individuals turned themselves in to the sheriff's office Monday, and 3 were booked into the parish prison on warrants. A sheriff's office spokesperson told CNN. They have a spokesperson? Don't they just mean their publicist or something? A 17-year-old was also booked into juvenile detention, said the spokesperson. The 17-year-old juvenile, who was not named, and 18-year-old Kayvon DeAndre Washington are accused. Why they only gave... Where's the other nigga's name? Okay, I was about to say. Yeah, so 18-year-old Kayvon DeAndre Washington are accused of third-degree rape. I didn't know they had degrees. Kaysen John Carver, 18, and Everett Lee, 28. This nigga hanging out with kids. Who was Washington's uncle, are charged with being principals to the alleged crime, according to the affidavits. Is this the uncle?
No, one of those 2 guys.
Everett Lee, 28. Yeah, it is this dude. That's the uncle. He's 28.
Wow.
And he hanging out with these kids and having them doing dumb shit. Anyway, CNN has reached out to attorneys representing the men for comment. In a statement provided to the Advocate newspaper, Carver's defense attorney, Joe Long, said in part, "When all the evidence is known, everyone will see this was not a crime. Absolutely not a rape. Listen, this is a tragedy. Definitely not a crime," Ron Haley, attorney for Washington and Lee, said to CNN affiliate WAFB.
They lawyered up quick, didn't they?
As they should. According to the affidavits, medical and toxicology reports issued by the East Baton Rouge Parish Coroner's Office found that Brooks had injuries consistent with sexual assault and that her blood alcohol content was 0.319 grams or percentage, nearly 4 times the legal limit to drive in Louisiana. Now, this is a question that I have. If anybody in the comments knows, how is it that a coroner or a mortician can tell the difference, or even a forensic scientist, how can they tell the difference between sexual assault
and rough sex
and just sex in general?
The tears, the vaginal tears. That's usually what it is. The rape kit is based on the vaginal tears. That's why they go and they check.
But how can they tell the difference?
Because tears means resistance, whereas just regular vaginal sex, unless it's rough.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Like rough.
What if it was a lot of sex?
That could be another thing. You know what I mean? Or the guys were a little sizable, or
Yeah.
I mean,
That's all I'm saying. I
question that. It's a very valid question because we're talking about young men growing up in a porn society, bro.
Yeah. Men and women.
Absolutely. Yeah. Man. Yeah, agreed. Right. But, as far as, porn reaches more men than it does women. So in their mind of what they see sex being is from porn.
Right.
I mean, there's no kindness.
There's no classes or our parents are not having these conversations
at
with
all.
us, really.
Right. And there's no kindness in sex with a lot of these young people anymore. It's all acrobatics. You mentioned it many times on the show. They don't know how to.
People do not know how to have sex.
They don't know.
They think they do, but they don't.
Yeah, they fucking. They're doing acrobats.
They don't even know how to fuck.
Well,
let's be real about it.
Clapping, whatever.
Right.
Put it in and go. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, I'll take it back a little bit. According to the affidavits, medical and toxicology reports issued by the East Baton Rouge Parish Coroner's Office found that Brooks had injuries consistent with sexual assault and that her blood alcohol content was 3.19%, nearly 4 times the legal limit to drive in Louisiana. According to the University of Notre Dame research, the effects of a BAC between 0.250% and 3.99 are listed as alcohol poisoning and loss of consciousness, the affidavit said. She also tested positive for tetrahydrocannabinol, the THC, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. The main psychoactive compound in cannabis, said the affidavits. Them niggas went and got in trouble.
Snow Bunny, literally.
They went and got in trouble. If you're on YouTube, you see what these fools got themselves into. Mm-hmm. And I won't speak on the, on the dead because I don't know her, I don't know them. But there have been many stories.
They didn't, like I said, the point is understanding your history because then you know, stay away.
Patrice O'Neal had a story about this that happened to him. His mom ended up hiding him away in a car trunk and had that fool sent from Baltimore over to New Jersey.
Just to save him.
Just to save him because she knew what was coming. He was 15. And they had all agreed, but then the girl's brother found out. So then she went and cried to the principal at the school. Now here come the police. And he ended up doing time because of that.
A lot of men lost their lives because of that.
He stopped fucking with white bitches after that.
Isn't that the whole Till story? He whistled at her.
Absolutely. Upon review of the medical records, investigators looked at videos from businesses in the surrounding area. Videos show Brooks arriving at a bar at around 10 p.m. and leaving with the 4 men in a vehicle at about 2 a.m. Did they say how old she is?
17, I think.
Wait, Brooks dancing? No. I don't think it ever said her age.
At the front, at the top, it didn't say.
I'm just curious.
19.
19-year-old.
She was 19.
Okay. Affidavits. Videos show Brooks arriving at a bar at around 10 p.m. and leaving with the 4 men in a vehicle at about 2 a.m.
Wow.
According to the affidavits.
Wow.
The affidavit said video inside the bar also shows a 17-year-old suspect and Brooks dancing and hugging during the night. So technically, if the bar let this 17-year-old in there, aren't they also liable?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
You know, shouldn't
They
they?
are.
They're supposed to lose their liquor license at the very least.
They're not supposed to serve. I know this being a security working at a club.
Yeah, they should lose their liquor license.
And we knew how to find fake IDs.
Fake people. Yeah.
They're so easy. I mean, they have devices now where you can check them.
Baby, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't. You know, well, they probably let you in because you was cool. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times, some of the guys would do that. You know.
No, I'm not condoning this. I'm just saying.
Not me. I'm a technology nigga. I ratted on everybody. If you wasn't supposed to be in that club,
get the
you was
fuck
not.
out.
Yeah, you was. Yeah, man, I didn't play.
So,
because you could be held liable.
Of course. But so, at about 1 a.m., Brooks is seen stumbling and needing help to get back on her feet, said the affidavits. According to the affidavits, Carver told investigators he and his friends had consumed alcohol at the bar and said they had never met Brooks prior to that night. Carver told police that Brooks was very unstable on her feet, was not able to keep her balance, and was unable to speak clearly without slurring her words when they left the bar, said the affidavits. The affidavits state that Carver told investigators that Washington and his 17-year-old friend had sex with the victim in the rear of the vehicle at separate times while he and Lee were in the front seat. Lee also told investigators he was seated in the passenger seat in the vehicle with Brooks and the other 3 men, but he did not provide further statements, according to the affidavits. Washington denied having sex with the victim and seeing his friend and the victim have sex.
I can guarantee you they taped it. I can guarantee you they got it on their phones.
Probably. He asked for an attorney and ended the interview when police asked him to provide a swab of DNA, the affidavit said. Fair enough. There were about 50 minutes between the suspects driving away from the bar and the fatal crash. Brooks was transported and died in the hospital, according to the EBRSO. The driver of the vehicle that struck Brooks has not been charged, according to the sheriff's office. The driver immediately notified emergency personnel after striking the person in the roadway, waited on scene, and had no impairment. Sheriff spokesperson Casey Rayborn Hicks told CNN. So did she jump out?
Probably. She ran out into the street more than likely.
Something,
Yeah.
Or was she laying down on the ground or some shit, maybe?
No. She's,
On Tuesday, a judge set bond for the 3 adult suspects. According to jail records, Carver, whose bond was set at $50,000, and Lee, who had a $75,000 bond, were released after bonding out. Jail records show Washington remains in jail on a $150,000 bond. Jesus. Mm-hmm. Madison was a daughter, a granddaughter, a sister, a niece, a classmate, and a friend to many of you, LSU President William F. Tate IV said in a statement. By all accounts, she was an amazing young woman with limitless potential. She could not have been taken from us in this way. What happened to her was evil, and our legal system will parcel out justice. LSU will make an action plan to address underage drinking at establishments near campus, Tate said in the statement. We will work openly against any business that doesn't join us in efforts toward creating a safer environment for our students. Enough is enough, Tate added. Well, at least they didn't completely badger.
No, listen, it's cut and dry. This is the thing. The reason why I wanted this to be read and we're talking about it, if there isn't a father in the home, okay, and this is to the women out there raising these young men, you cannot be a dad and a mom. Mother's Day comes up, do your time. Father's Day come up, let the men have their time. If you're not able to secure a strong relationship with a man who is going to be a father to your children, however many you have, you have got to take the extra initiative to make sure there's uncles and or people in the community who are stepping up to help you raise that boy.
Community centers, the Big Brother, Little Brother program, different things like that. Very important.
Yeah, it's this happens because it's one thing for you women to talk to these young men and say, you need to treat women with respect and blah, 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 blah. But if he doesn't have any true
male guidance,
he's not going to ever be what he should be. It's very important that you guys understand it because listen, I knew how to treat a woman because I had men teach me. Not because my mom said this is how you treat a woman.
Correct.
I had men teach me respect women. You know what I mean? Like my mom was always big on me, like, yo, they hit you, hit them back. And I'm still to that on this day. I'm big on that. But when it came to sexual dealings and respect and, if she's in trouble. Absolutely. This woman was in trouble. This is why I'm talking about this, because now these young brothers have lost their life. They're in the prison system. That's it. Mm-hmm. Done. They're not like these white Ivy League white boys who gets a high-powered attorney. Their dad is high-powered in the city, and they get a slap on the wrist. Yeah, and the judge tells them, well, we don't want to destroy his life.
This is about to follow them for a while.
You look at these cats, they got blonde dreads, and you know what I'm saying? This is to them, there was an audition I just did with somebody, and in the fucking breakdown, it said, America's worst nightmare when they introduced the character. And it was actually a Tyler Perry production. And the story is about 4 guys that beat and kill a basketball. This is a common thing, like what you see people don't realize there's a season for all this shit. Like we see these 5 black cops kill this brother. Mm-hmm. Oh, how deliberate it is that we're seeing this TV show. It's going to be a TV show about 4 brothers that kill this basketball player, a black basketball player, on a bus. And one character is America's worst nightmare. And when it says he comes, you see him. Mm. And so this is what you're seeing. You guys who are out here, like, oh, he's just expressing himself. Now these guys are the face of white girl killers. They kill white girls.
They will be.
And so how can this is my thing, how can this be handled to a point where we don't end up with this? Y'all gotta stop giving these cats all this fucking liberty y'all give them. Oh, they just being themselves. They just finding who they are. When you young, you stupid.
There's no men in their lives.
Yeah, we do stupid stuff when I was in my teens and my 20s, I wasn't doing stupid shit.
Me neither.
Because we talked about this before the show. I had an objective. Yeah. I always had an objective. I always said that there was something that I didn't want to lose.
You were told that you needed purpose.
Right. And if you don't have an objective and you want to do stupid shit, you don't have anything to lose. But if you have an objective, then you know what? I don't want anything to ever jeopardize this objective. I don't want anything to jeopardize what I could gain from this. Even up to the basketball players, because, they got so much leniency and they get to do whatever they want. The narcissism, the King Solomon syndrome, I call it, where they get everything they want. They get to do whatever they want to do and everybody protect them. And it's like, you got to hold these fools accountable. Now, I'm not coming down so much on young brothers who do honestly make mistakes. Yeah. Not doing that. I'm talking about these cats where you saw a fucking white girl, reckless. A white girl, not even a sister. Even if it was a sister, it's still wrong. But a white girl, drunk out her mind.
And you didn't know that was playing with fire.
And that's because there's a huge disconnect from their past. They don't know about
whether she consented or not.
Right, absolutely.
That is playing with fucking fire.
Absolutely. And I hold the whole community accountable. I hold them accountable. Definitely, you got a grown ass man who knew what was going down. Mm-hmm. But You know, I always say drunk pussy is a turn off.
I agree. I have never, will never. It does not intrigue me. It never has. I say this all the time. I want, if you're a young man and you're listening, I've had way more women sleep in my bed than I've ever slept with women.
Mm-hmm.
At like probably 1 to fucking 20 ratio,
Mm-hmm.
if not higher.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not doing that.
You have the discipline.
I'll let you be safe, and then, hey, all right,
Yeah.
you need to go ahead and, go home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
I've never, that's just fire that you don't play with, man.
For you people who are out there saying, well, she was drunk, blah, 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 blah. She was drunk to the point where she couldn't say no even if she wanted to. So there's an old Prince song, Erotic City, where he says, all of my hang-ups are gone. There's no inhibitions when you drink to a point of almost literally being in a stupor. You should be cognizant enough in who you are and disciplined enough to be like, you know what? No.
I get my own cab, whatever.
None of these guys are ugly. You know what I'm saying? He looks like Farley.
He a little goofy, but yeah.
But I wanted to go over this because this is something that you brothers have got to start to adopt. You have to adopt it to your reasoning and to who you are as a person. Part of your job and responsibility as a black man is the protection of all, not just your community. But I love those stories, and they don't even get a lot of attention where these black guys will go and save somebody. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, they were going to kidnap that little girl, and we stopped her. Mm-hmm. They were raised right. They know better, especially when it's in their community. They don't play that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And to see something like this, when I saw this, I was just like, no.
The niggas in the bar. Well, there had to be other men there.
And again,
where were they?
They're hanging out with
foolish adults, foolish ass bar, even letting them in there.
And
yeah, that too.
Yeah. So
having that idea that you're untouchable, hanging around one.
Yeah, and listen, man. Listen.
Don't let it fool you.
I watch a lot of cop videos where people get pulled over. I like to, because I went to a school for law. Tilden High School, Samuel J. Tilden. I'm sorry, my high school alma mater. It was a school that prepared you for if you went to college for law. Because at one point I thought about being a lawyer, and I said, nah, I don't want to do that. But anyway, I watch a lot of cop videos because it always, I like to see how these stories end up, because you see the footage and you see what happens, but you never see what happens at the end. And a lot of them end up being that the person will sue and get money, but there's always leniency on the cops.
Right.
And part of what I've been seeing a lot lately is these brothers talking to these cops like I know my rights. And it's like, man, they already want to put hands on you.
Your number one right is to stay silent.
Stay silent, man. And do everything in your power to get home to your family. Lawsuit or not, because people think, well, I'll get a nice lawsuit. Yeah, but
right there on the spot is not the place to argue.
Yeah, you lose 30% of your brain capacity because they bashed your brains in, or you lose your legs, or you can't walk anymore. So now you may have, or your life and your family. They got $2-3 million, but you're gone, and your child doesn't have a daddy.
And most often, these people are not getting paid for. They're not getting settlements.
Right? Yeah. Or low settlements, because I saw one, he got like $100,000. I'm like, man, they did some real dirty stuff to this one brother, man. It was just like, oh,
there was somebody I seen recently. I was just reading it earlier. He got like $3,600.
Yeah.
Yeah. After false imprisonment, $3,600.
Yeah. So when these situations happen, you have to be smart, man. You have to be smart, prudent, moral. The moral thing would have been like, yo, she's drunk, man. Like, not one of them, bro. You know what I mean? Like, where are we in the world where it's like, to me as a black man, you're one of the most powerful beings on this planet. When I'm in situations like that, I shut it all down. Like, I mean, look, 39 years of martial art training, I got a different perspective, and I've always had a superhero complex. But when I read this, I was just like, come on, man. Come on, now all brothers that look like that got to put up with somebody having that in
Thinking
their...
that they're coming after some white bitch. As if there's not already some sort of fright associated with our image and our presence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, and I mean, this is going to be big before the year is out. This is going to be, they're going to make this big.
Patrice O'Neal talked about this too, man. Just the white privilege.
Yeah.
Now, what is it? White girl privilege.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they would have came out better if she was a ginger. She's a straight snow bunny.
Yep.
I don't know if her eyes are blue. I think I saw one picture.
That picture's gonna be everywhere.
Yeah, more than the other sister that we've been talking about.
They already stopped talking about
her. Yeah. You know, and I mean, straight real white name, Madison Brooks.
That was more black on black crime.
Yeah,
trying to push for.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry that we had to talk about this, but you know, for all you parents out there, you have teenage sons, and it's not too late. It's not too late, man.
Semen retention, penis control.
Yeah.
Teach these young men.
Yeah.
It's okay to wait. You know what I'm saying? You need to vet.
Yeah. You know, be more involved. Talk more with them, man. You know, I know
the things that we think are taboo in our community should not be.
Yeah.
You need to start, and if you don't quite understand sex, then you need to go and do the research so that you can educate your child,
or incorporate people who can do the conversation. Like
absolutely,
there's always someone, man. I'm talking to several people right now, helping them out with their teens to get things situated. Okay, you know that's a little downer, but you know, let's talk about Lala Anthony. I had put something up on one of the pages. I think I told you early on. Lala Anthony says marriage is no longer a goal for a lot of people. Most married people that I know are miserable.
She also said the other day that something about her something about her not being dateable, or
because her son said
just her. She said the dating pool.
So she's just in the news lately. Yeah. So she's mad.
People Lessons talked about it. But yeah, Lala Anthony says marriage is no longer a goal for a lot of people. Most married people that I know are miserable. So she's about to drive home the same tired-ass narrative that these busybody-ass kids being all in their grandparents and their parents' fucking business. Mm-hmm. That's all that is. Lala Anthony, you know what? And she was on BMF. I did not know that was her on there. This motherfucker done changed her face up so much, man.
She's been studying too, because
she changed it up.
They went in on her when she was on Power, because she was horrible on Power as an actor.
Yeah.
You know, she wouldn't be where she's at if it wasn't for Carmelo. Yeah, of course.
She would have been another
just
Kim
a regular.
Kardashian,
Yeah, of course.
Maybe, you know, if she would have got that big.
Yeah.
But Lala Anthony is opening up about her thoughts on marriage, revealing that most of the married people she's friends with are all miserable in their relationships.
So hold on a second. So Lala, that's your way of saying, you know, you did right by getting out of your marriage with Carmelo?
Yeah, she's gonna constantly justify it.
Oh, her poor son.
The same way most people do when they get out of relationships, or they force their ways out of relationships because they weren't mature enough to actually do something with it. Mm-hmm. You know. Following Angela Yee's departure from The Breakfast Club, the radio show continues to bring on different guest hosts to join DJ Envy and Charlemagne the God, discussing the latest topics in news and pop culture. The most recent guest host to stop by the show was Lala Anthony, who spoke all about relationships, infidelity, and her thoughts on marriage following her divorce from Carmelo Anthony. What is she, like 40-something?
Yeah, she pushing.
Yeah, she got to be up there. She probably, I know she want to be 20 so bad. That's usually what it is. While she's been open about just how often celebrities cheat in the past, the actress clarified that she didn't go into her relationship with the baller thinking he would be unfaithful.
Oh, stop.
So, Pink Book Lessons talked about this. She said, when you go and you marry an entertainer, you know, men and women have very unrealistic expectations. Going and being with someone who has access the way that they fucking have access.
Options.
If Tupac get married, nigga, do you think he's not hitting bitches on tour?
That's why he didn't marry.
You know, well, I'm just saying, you know, because I know that that's somebody a lot of people think about. You know, of course this nigga's hitting shit.
Yeah.
You know, the women alike, they got options.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you with somebody who really does genuinely have obvious options, you know, just have the conversation. And if you know you ain't gonna go nowhere, you know, be honest about that too. Don't turn it into this whole thing where this fool is running a smear campaign.
She was benefiting. You know, listen,
she's still benefiting. What is this?
Of course.
This is money.
Of course.
Us sitting here talking about her goofy ass. You know, just this kind of coverage. You know, people hearing about this and listening to this shit.
Yeah, it's what I woke up to and saw this morning, and a lot of people had a lot to say about it. You know, mostly unmarried people. Because
I have to send you them other ones, man, from Pink Book Les. She really got on her head. She's like, nigga, like you didn't know.
Yeah,
you didn't know that this. It's not to say that it can't happen. But it's an unrealistic expectation.
Listen, everyone that gets into a relationship, whether it's a marriage or it's just a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, they know their circumstance. It's the problem becomes they don't want to accept it.
They romanticize.
Of course, because that's what it's all built on. Remember, I always say that when you're dating, you are impressing. Dating is all about impressing each other. That's all dating is for. So when you get married, then the real work begins. Because what a marriage says is, okay, we got to build. And sometimes we're not going to be in agreement on things.
It's a business. It don't have anything to do with either individual. It's all about the union.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to set everything aside for the union, why are you there?
Right. But that's the problem. See, guys, what we're talking about is how people are impressed upon by people in positions of opportunity.
What they have.
To display. Yes, absolutely. And so when you're seeing someone like Lala Anthony, who was on BMF and she was on Power, and she's out there, a lot of these women take her perspective, not realizing that you are not her.
You're not in her situation.
You don't have her
not even
opportunities.
Close.
Absolutely.
You don't have the same access. None of that.
You can wear what she wear, maybe talk the way she talks.
You can go get the same plastic surgery she got.
There you go. That's about it.
You know, guess what?
You know, you don't date a man that got Carmelo Anthony money.
I'm just saying. And you're probably not going to.
You're right. You know what I mean?
You know, let's see. The people in the public eye go through stuff. Anthony began. It's like this kind of idea of like, well, she's talking like she's a fucking 18-year-old.
Because she don't know any better.
It's like this kind of idea of like, well, people don't feel bad for them, or what did you expect, or what did you think? No, Bossip. I was going to say, there's somebody who's raggedy for them to write it exactly how she said it. Like,
yeah, that's what they do. Bossip don't play.
That's funny. She continued, especially even dealing with athletes. It's kind of like, well, what did you think was going to happen? Guess what? Nobody goes into a marriage thinking that that's going to happen.
Liar.
No, you don't go into a marriage thinking that. Everyone has insecurities. Even the most confident people have some insecurity at some level about something.
Yes.
You know, none of us are impervious to being human, and I'll stand on that for the rest of my life.
And it usually comes down to sex, because sex is a major component of any male-female relationship or marriage.
Well, things are taboo because of insecurity.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know,
if you were raised in a house that was very strong in religion and you didn't know nothing about making love and getting loved and fucking right and getting fucked right,
even hearing these words.
Yes. You know? Oh, they snatching pearls.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, so now you're gonna get married with somebody and you're not comfortable in talking about that stuff, but this person you already know, okay, maybe they're out my league when it comes to this, and I'm not ready to go to that level. Well, that's where you're gonna have a problem, because you should already be ready to go to that level. You should already be knowledgeable about, okay, I'm with someone who has a very strong sexual, desire or sexual, appetite. I gotta feed them. That's part of your job. Even the Bible backed that up. Do not withhold from your partner, at least they'll go find it from somewhere else.
Hey, just saying. What was that? Especially even dealing with athletes. It's kind of like, well, what did you think was going to happen? Guess what? Nobody goes into a marriage thinking that that's going to happen. Hey, no, Greg. You don't go into a marriage thinking that if you thought that and believed that your connection with that person wasn't something different, then you wouldn't get married to them. Bullshit.
that money.
People think so many different things are gonna fail, and they still do it anyway.
Absolutely. Well, if it don't work out, girl, I'll make sure you have a baby.
Motherfuckers be lying on their taxes knowing damn well there's a potential for them to get caught, and they do it anyway for a couple of bucks.
That's right. Yeah.
Hella people. Nigga, how many of us want to lie right now to get some food stamps? I tell you right. I want some food stamps, nigga. And I would lie if I knew it was going to work.
Get
I'm
them
just
food
saying.
Stamps.
When Charlamagne mentioned that Lala previously said that people are going to cheat, Anthony corrected him, insisting that entering into a marriage isn't the same when expectations have been laid. I went into a marriage saying I found a connection with someone that we're going to do it different, she explained, regardless if you're an athlete, whatever you are, entertainer, any kind of business you're in. Elsewhere in the segment, Lala, who filed for divorce from Carmelo Anthony in June 2021, said that she doesn't believe marriage is a goal for most people anymore. I don't hear people who aren't married saying, like, I want to get married. You just start hearing it less and less, she said on the show. Like, before that was a goal, I'm not in conversation with people who are like, I can't wait to meet someone and get married.
Liar.
She went on to, yeah, she's definitely lying. She went on to say, she's probably talking to old motherfuckers who, they fuck their own selves over. Honestly, a lot of these people who are out here speaking out against marriage and the family unit and even just healthy relationships in general are people who fuck themselves over and they're not willing to go look in the mirror and begin the work.
Yeah,
because they think it's too late.
Yeah,
and in a sense, it is too late.
Yeah,
but if you do the work, man, and somebody sees you and they know that you're doing the work, there's nothing wrong with shooting for the stars one last time, man. We get this life once.
A lot of them have opportunities and turn them down because they think they're going to have something better.
They always think they're going to have something better. If you think you got more options than you do if you want to. Congratulations. Let me read this real quick.
Sure.
God damn it, Facebook is always hating. There we go. We got Lanisha who says,
hey, Lanisha.
Insecurity doesn't equate to feeling you trust who you choose to unite with and make a commitment with. Not defending Lala, but just because you don't expect to get cheated on doesn't mean you don't have insecurities. That hope just be real big. You want to believe people are different or true about what they claim.
It's called delusion.
You can want to believe whatever you want to believe.
It's called delusion.
And then there's reality.
Yeah. A lot of people live in that delusion.
And that's unfortunate. And I'm not saying that it's wrong to think that way, but not addressing the reality of thinking that way. There's some accountability that must be had when you say, well, this motherfucker got 3 baby mamas.
So okay.
I've never met his kids.
Let's not move past that. He got 3 baby mamas. That means he likes to fuck. Let's keep it real. And so as a woman, you coming into this juncture, I got to make sure I keep this motherfucker satisfied. That's your first
that should be
thing
the first
on the agenda, period. He likes to use what he got between his legs. And obviously, maybe he, what a lot of you women got to realize that if you get a man, first off, who's very active, if you get a man,
you don't get to change that.
You don't get to change that, first off. If he's been active since he was 9 years old, training, working out and everything, he's going to have a high testosterone level, which induces a high sex drive. And you have to understand that you're not going to come in and then start putting it down, or you ain't getting none tonight, or this ain't for you. You're not going to get this. No. You have to increase your sex
really
drive.
Quick. There's a lot of arrogance and, albeit ego, in someone who believes that they can do that to a person.
Yeah.
Whether that be male or female.
Yeah.
Because it does go both ways. If you think that you can change some, we're talking to people who are adults. You think you're going to change an adult after so many years of them just being who they are? Newsflash, people don't change and people rarely get better.
That's right. They just adapt and adjust.
And they may adapt a little.
There you go.
They may even compromise a bit.
Hey, Brandon. Yep.
But they don't change. So when you have somebody who's already compromising, why would you twist their arm?
Yeah.
As if they're not already bent. Why would you further wrench their arm?
Well, something happens in titles, in marriage and in relationships.
I say that all the time. The title complicates something that was already good.
Yeah.
You know, people could be together for 20-something years, just have whatever their relationship is. And then the moment they get married, those titles of husband and wife can completely destroy that union just because they feel pressure from the idea, the ideology of that union now. Like it wasn't already working.
Right. Right.
Y'all could have went and bought rings and called each other fucking doofus and bozo for all, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And it still would have been a good relationship without all of that.
Sure.
Let's we down to the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so
because you know Lala, she got a lot of info.
Yeah, I'm sure she does. Says she was I don't hear people who aren't married saying like I want to get married. You just start hearing it less and less. She said on the show, like before that was a goal, and I'm not in the conversation with people who are like, I can't wait to meet someone and get married. She went on to say most. I'm not saying all. I'm being careful with my words. Saying most is not being careful with your fucking words. Okay. 23 years, no pressure. Hey, my brother Wolf. You know what I'm
Congratulations
saying?
to you, Wolf.
Hey, man, Oakland. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't hear people. She went on to say most. I'm not saying all. I'm being careful with my words. Most married people that I know are miserable and not happy and don't want to be married. Most married people that you know.
Right, right.
You have a miserable circle. Whose fault is that?
Right. And
I'm
happy is fleeting. Happiness is fleeting. It's
I know
not
plenty of
a
happy
thing.
married people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. People who are
I can
happy
start
that are
throwing
married.
around the word most.
Right.
Hey, nigga, town shit. You know what I'm saying? It's my boy. Sheesh. Those are some harsh words from Lala Anthony that are sure to get a lot of pushback online. Do you agree with her that marriage just isn't desirable anymore?
That's a lie, especially when it comes to
All we gotta do is look at the statistics.
Statistics when it comes to black women and black men. They all, when they poll, a lot of them want.
So they say what they desire.
Yeah, they want to be married.
Most women desire the reality of being kept and cared for by a man, and to be able to build a beautiful union. They want the beautiful wedding, the beautiful stable marriage. It's insane for her, and it's only because she's at that age.
But she's bitter.
Know?
She's bitter. Yeah,
she's jaded. You know. Now, whose fault is that between her and him? Look, according to the records, both of them was cheating on each other, which means they were already built for each other. They were meant for each other.
Stayed together.
They just didn't have the conversation that they should have had.
Right. Which a lot of people don't.
No.
You know, they people bring in their toxicity of who they are into a relationship and think that the marriage is going to fix it.
Just because you throw the word marriage at it like it's going to change.
Well,
no, y'all are still who you are.
Yeah.
But be honest about who y'all are together.
Yeah.
Y'all don't got to hate on each other. You know what I'm saying? Build a Megazord, whatever the fuck y'all do. Fucking other people and swinging or whatever. But when you got kids, maybe you got a brand, maybe y'all got businesses together, just having longevity. Why would you destroy that over something that's so whimsical as... Y'all like sex. And maybe you don't always like it with each other. If that's your reality, then nigga just had a conversation. Y'all gonna destroy an entire union? Split these kids up? Acting a fool in the fucking media? You know, now, again, this is not everybody's fucking story, yo. Everybody does not have Lala's circumstances.
Or Carmelo's.
But whatever level you are at in life, if you with somebody and y'all having trouble and you know both of y'all fucking around on each other or both of y'all stealing from each other or whatever the fuck it is, both of y'all getting fat on each other, whatever, have the conversation and go, you know what? I know we both getting fat, but you my nigga. And so let's go have this dinner together and overeat, and then I'm gonna go fuck my fat bitch, and you go fuck my skinny bitch, and you go have your skinny dude.
Yeah,
and I'll see you back at home in a few hours.
And have the conversation with integrity and honesty.
Be real about it. Be righteous. Be righteous. You know, the worst thing you could do is pretend not to be who you are, and the second worst thing you could do is try to convince somebody else that you ain't who you are.
When they know.
They know. Y'all both know. How are y'all dealing with each other? Just because you ain't spoken about it don't mean y'all both don't know. That's why y'all side-eyeing each other. Because y'all scared to have a conversation. So have a conversation. All right? Let me read this real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, my brother Wolf said 23 years, no pressure. He said, find you a winner at Borders Bookstore. Everybody is different. He said his chick is still in his socks, hoodies, and T-shirts still after 23 years. You know, whatever their situation is.
Right. It works
you know
for
what
them.
I'm saying? It works for them.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful ethnic couple, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, man, that's a town nigga right there. He from Oakland, you know what I'm saying? So I'm already supporting that.
No, listen, I respect anybody who's in a relationship and they have understanding.
Yeah,
I think that's
whatever
what
that
it's about.
understanding is.
For people who don't want to get married, and this is something that's important for people to understand. If a person doesn't want to get married, maybe they're working on themselves. That doesn't. Human beings, we're very culpable of being in a space where we have to recognize that our mind changes consistently. Right. We're still kids, man. We're still, you know, I always say you are who you are at 5 years old. If you were a giving kid at 5 years old, now you're an adult. You're still giving. And maybe you need to work on that because that's what life is all about. Life is working on different scenarios and who you are and how you acclimate in those scenarios.
Absolutely.
And so for anybody that doesn't want to be married, you know, people shouldn't be down on those people. But for people who want to be married, people shouldn't be down on them. And I believe that that's what she's doing. She's going down on people saying, child, I've been married. You don't know. He going to cheat. He going to be this. He going to be that. And it's like, look, you chose Carmelo. You know what I'm saying? If I was a woman as broke as I fucking am right now in life, you best believe I'd be his bitch. I'd be like, what you, okay, hey, baby, you know, you going to the moon? Okay, I'm going to pack you a lunch. You know what I mean? So she can bitch about her circumstance and moan. And all you women out there and you men out there who are in bad relationships, you're in that relationship because that's the relationship you chose to be in. You don't want to be in it, you can leave it. But before you do that,
ask yourself, do you really have that option?
And is there anything out there better than what you're in right now? Because a lot of times you go searching, it'll be a 20-year journey, and you still won't find what you're looking for because it starts with you.
Yep. People are not as unique as they like to think they are. Majority of us are very much the same as one another. And that's why we all end up with each other, and that's why we all relate so easily to the things we relate to. All right? So we're at 9:57. I'm going to read these real quick, then we're going to get on up out of here. My brother Wolf says, I'm not threatened by her power. She's not insecure with me. We've been through hell and back. Some people are still really in it for the long run. I think the interwebs influence a lot of these games, breakups, and bullshit like that. You got to be about it in real life.
Go Wolf. That's what I'm talking about. That's why she with you, Wolf.
Hey, look. You know what I'm saying? He's a good man.
That's why she with him.
He's a good dude.
You know what I mean? That's why she with him.
Facts.
Because she realized, she's like, I got to win
real
him.
niggas come from Oakland. That's another reason. You know what I'm saying? So, y'all have a good night. We get ended on that note, man. Thank everybody for tuning in.
No doubt. Have a great weekend. We will see you Tuesday back here, 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific time with Jackson Drumgood II talking to you guys about parenthood and being married.
Oh, shit. Hold up.
As a black man in America.
Is it gonna do? Okay, it's gonna do us dirty.
We got the Lala. Remember I turned off the Bluetooth.
You turned it off, yeah. This thing is
we have the Lala Anthony curse. That's what it is. She's cursing us from a distance.
Because we talk shit about her being old.
Hit me up, Lala. I'll date you for a minute. You got money. I need somebody with money right now.
Yeah, buy me some bowling shoes. You know what I'm saying? I'll take some bowling shoes.
The complex need the rent paid and some lights and stuff. So, you know, you can come on through. Do a good deed.
All right, see, it's tripping out on me. Because I'm black?
Yeah, pretty
Somebody
much.
tell me. Is that why? Is it because I'm black?
It's the Lala curse, man.
Can we do this? Come on. God damn, this thing always gonna trip out.
Thank you guys for joining in with us tonight.
I'm just trying to, you know.
Larry Banks said real game. No doubt, Larry. I know you out there in the dating scene,
brother.
Man. You know.
Shout out to Larry.
You married people, man. Y'all live your lives like single couples, man. Get out there and have a good time, man.
Thank you. God, man.
We didn't hear that before. That was part of it.
Yeah, it didn't connect. All right, now y'all have a good night. We out.
Muscles on his lonely back. I stay calm
that
and
shit
fact.
was
I've
off
been
for
on the
like
grind so
half of
long.
the
It was down, but you know, you still caught on my mic.
Yeah, so I was
Yeah, you project. Yeah, you're a rapper. That's that rapper.
Exactly.
Keep throwing thoughts
And that's when you go, oh, God. And when you did it last week, I was like, why is he? I'm not.
I think because I was eating or some shit.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Turning down.
But that was right at the end.
Yeah, it was.
Because the chips and shit.
Yeah,
I ain't gotta prove stats. I don't need the hookup. I've been staying blue black, straight from where the news at. Life size showdown.